Today on the Dyno Sessions, we're going to torture this motor. Joey Strube here at Bikeman Performance. Today on the Dyno Sessions, we have an XP1000 RS1 engine in completely stock form, and we're going to put exhaust, intake, and a wicked tune in it, and we're going to see how far we can push this thing. We're going to make a bunch of noise, and we're going to show you what goes on behind the scenes to make world-winning horsepower. I'm throwing some stuff on here. I feel like I just keep putting on things and taking off things. Half of my day is just putting on parts. That's all I do. Making a stock engine sing is easy. It just takes three components. I call it the triangle of power. You have the exhaust, the intake, and fuel management. If we get all these perfect, this engine will be untouchable. Engines are pretty simple. All they are is an air pump. When the piston goes down, sucks air in, goes up, it squeezes it, bang, it lights it, and then it farts it out. The exhaust is a very important component of the engine. Not only do we need to get the air out, but we need to maximize that pulse going out so it pulls more air with it. Now we can do that by changing the length of the runners, changing the size of the runners, changing how fast they increase. Now in our exhaust systems, we'll try almost every different possibility known to man just to make sure that we have the best possible. And in our race engines, we don't have to worry about the restriction, we don't have to worry about noise. So on this engine, you're gonna be seeing some noise. So now we've talked about the exhaust, let's talk about the intake. The intake has just as much impact on everything as the exhaust, because not only do we need to get that hot exhaust out, but we need to get the fresh air in. So the intake's function is just to get as much air as you can in the engine. And you can think of the intake as it has a resonant frequency, so as you change the length of it, we can change what RPM it's tuned for. So by changing the shape, the expansion of this, the length, we can make sure that we're getting as much air and fuel into this engine as we possibly can. Now, not only the length is important, the taper of it's important. So we make like a velocity stack intake. So we have a new intake box we're working on this thing that goes just behind the throttle bodies. And it's actually got a nice velocity stack in it. It's tuned the right length for the RPM where we want to run at, which is between 8,000 and 9,000 RPM. And the intake box actually flows so much more air than throttle bodies alone, that over just throttle bodies alone with no intake, with a filtered intake, we're making over 10 horsepower more at certain RPMs. And we're gonna go across into the fab shop and show you. All right, come on, follow me. Now that's pretty. This is our new intake system coming out. It's a multi-piece setup. We have a cover plate, a back cover plate. Inside we got velocity stacks and a holder. It's an O-ring setup. And this is tuned to an exact length that we need to make as much power as possible in that 8,000 to 9,000 RPM range. All right, we talked about exhaust, we talked about intake, now let's talk about tuning. The tune is mega important because the engine is an air pump. Now we need to maximize how much fuel is going in there with the right amount of timing and make sure that we're capitalizing on all that potential energy that's going through the engine. Any pressure that comes out of the exhaust, unburnt or it's still expanding, is losing horsepower. We want to make sure we trap all that horsepower in the engine without lighting it too soon, because if we light it too soon, the engine's fighting itself. It's a delicate balance to make sure we have the exact right amount so that we can hold the throttle wide open and go, go, go without any detuning on us. Now we just need to add the right amount of fuel with the right amount of ignition, and we have the most power you can possibly make. So that's it for the dyno sessions. If you want to see any of our products, go to bikemanperformance.com and stay tuned for more episodes.